Dad brought his mistress to Sunday dinner and announced she was the new woman of the house. Mom served divorce papers with dessert. We had Sunday dinner at my parents' house every week. It was a tradition for 20 years. Mom would cook all day Saturday, Dad's favorite pot roast, homemade rolls, 3 sides, and apple pie from scratch. We'd arrive at 4, eat at 5, and stay until 8 talking about our weeks. Dad sat at the head of the table like a king, surveying his kingdom. That Sunday started normally. I arrived with my husband and kids. My brother Kyle was already there with his family. My sister Amy came alone as usual. Mom was in the kitchen finishing the gravy. Dad sat in his chair scrolling on his phone. Then the doorbell rang. Dad jumped up and said he'd invited someone special. He opened the door and there stood Natalie, his 28-year-old secretary, in a tight red dress holding a store-bought salad. He brought her into the dining room and announced she was the new woman of the house, and we should all call her Mom. My actual mother was standing right there, holding a gravy boat. Dad said Mom already knew about the situation and had agreed to be civilized. He said modern families had different arrangements and we needed to be mature about it. Natalie sat down in Mom's chair and asked when dinner would be ready. She looked directly at my mother and asked when she'd be serving the meal. Mom set the gravy down carefully and said dinner would be ready in a moment. Dad told us Natalie would be joining all family events from now on, and we needed to respect her as our new mother figure. Kyle asked if they were getting divorced. Dad said that wasn't necessary. Amy asked, what arrangement exactly? He said he loved both women and they'd agreed to share. Mom hadn't said a single word. Natalie started talking about redecorating. She said the house looked dated, pointed at Mom's china cabinet, and said it needed to go. The whole place, she said, screamed middle-aged depression. Then she said she couldn't wait to be our fun, young mom. Someone who understood our generation better. She was 2 years younger than me. My kids asked why Grandpa's friend was calling herself Grandma. Natalie said kids adapt quickly. And they probably love her more because she buy better presents. She actually said that in front of my mother. Mom went back to the kitchen. She came out with the pot roast and served everyone, including Natalie. Dad smiled. See? This is working already. He praised Mom for being so understanding. Said most women would make a scene, but she knew her place in the new dynamic. Mom went back to the kitchen again. She returned with dessert, before we'd even started eating. Apple pie for everyone. On top of Dad's slice sat an envelope. What's this? He asked. Just some paperwork, Mom said. He opened it, expecting bills or something routine. It was divorce papers. Already signed. She'd been planning this for weeks. She'd known about Natalie for 6 months, hired a private investigator, documented everything, met with a lawyer. Dad had bought Natalie jewelry with joint funds, taken her on business trips, and even promoted her twice for no reason. Mom had proof of all of it. Then there was the house. Dad always bragged it was his because he bought it before marriage. What he didn't know was Mom had inherited money 2 years ago, and quietly paid off the mortgage in full, with her money, which made the house hers, regardless of whose name was on the deed. The legal paperwork was already filed. She told Dad and Natalie to leave immediately, or she'd call the police for trespassing. Dad said she couldn't be serious. Mom pulled out her phone and started dialing. Natalie grabbed her salad and rushed out to her car. Dad tried to take some pot roast. Family only, Mom said. I am family. Not anymore. He asked where he was supposed to go. Mom suggested Natalie's studio apartment, since she was the new woman of the house. He asked about his clothes. Mom said she'd already donated them that morning while he was golfing. All of them. Even his lucky golf polo. We ate dinner without Dad for the first time in 20 years. It was the best pot roast Mom ever made. Dad lasted 1 week with Natalie before she kicked him out for being too old and boring. Mom kept the house and got half his retirement. Dad rents a room from a coworker now. He asked me to come to Sunday dinner last week. Mom said that was for family only.